You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Welcome to this special edition of the Dressage Today podcast, sponsored by VitaFlex. In competition, there's a fine line between where you were yesterday, where you are today, and where you'll be tomorrow. It's the line we push ourselves to chase and cross. VitaFlex Pro can help get you there. Our equine nutritionists, veterinarians, and scientists are dedicated to developing the best supplements you can give your performance horse. That's our fine line. What's yours? Today, I'm talking with Karen Pautz from Frankfort, Kentucky. She is one of the scribes for the FEI Dressage World Cup Final, presented by Havensafe Farm. Thank you, Karen, for joining us today and talking with us about being a scribe at the World Cup.
I'm so happy to talk with you about this. It's really exciting to not only be here, but to be able to scribe. It's one of the best things you can do as a volunteer.
I bet it is. I think it's really cool. But to start with, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what your involvement is in horses?
Sure. I currently work for the American Association of Equine Practitioners. I'm their director of education, but until 4 years ago, I had been in the university setting teaching in horse programs, and part of my job was to put on dressage shows, take students to dressage shows, volunteer at dressage shows. So this is a long time. I don't think you can call it a hobby anymore, but something I've done for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, so is this your first event scribing at this caliber, the World Cup, or have you done an international competition before?
I've scribed at international competitions, but never World Cup, but many CDIs. So.
In like Florida, have you been down to Florida or
California? Yeah. Okay. Kentucky, East Coast.
So what has made you want to scribe at this kind of level? It seems like there might be a lot of pressure.
I guess there's pressure, but at this level we're doing e-scribing. It's all electronic, which means we type in comments and scores with our judge. And for me, that's so much easier. I have awful handwriting. I feel really sorry for people who get my tests when I've written them by hand. But with the e-scribing, I'm typing, and I'm a good typer. So I basically get to sit there and watch the test. And at this level in particular, the judges don't have tons of comments to make. So I don't think there's that much pressure. The judges now, they're feeling lots of pressure. But no, I just get to sit there and type in stuff. So,
do you have to have any specific qualifications to be a scribe at this kind of level?
I think there's an amount of experience that's expected at this level, and you're probably scribing for a foreign judge, so you need to understand their language, which means you need to understand dressage language. But there's no licensing or certification, anything like that you need. And then, of course, for e-scribing, you need to be comfortable on a keyboard.
Well, that's most of us these days, I guess, right?
I think so.
So you you scribed on for the Grand Prix, and what judge did you scribe for there?
I was with Jean-Michel Roudier, the French judge, and we sat at F, which is fun. I've never scribed from F before, but World Cup has 7 judges instead of 5. So we got to sit in really interesting places.
Yeah, I'm sure that gives a slightly different perspective.
Totally different perspective. Watching the horses do most of their work from behind. The half passes in particular were just beautiful to watch because we got to see hind legs doing what hind legs are supposed to do.
Now, will you be with him again for the freestyle on Friday?
Yes, for all intents and purposes, unless something comes up. We always try to stay with the same judge throughout the competition so that we get to know each other. And the judges are more comfortable as well. The judges, not only are they stressed out about judging, they're stressed out about getting a scribe who works correctly for them. So, yeah, once we know a judge, we try to stay with them.
Yeah, I guess they don't travel with their own scribes, do they?
Almost never. Occasionally you'll see one that has a working student that they're used to or something like that, but generally no. We're meeting the judges for the first time the morning of the first class.
Oh, wow. See, that seems like pressure to me.
Yeah, maybe.
But especially if you, like you said, you're with someone who English is not necessarily their first language. So if there's a little bit of a language barrier, that could be a little bit tricky.
Well, they may have a small language barrier, but they're all very experienced in judging in the States. So they can tell you what they tend to say, and if there's a certain phrase that they've found their American scribes have trouble with. So we just have that little discussion before the tests start, and then everything's fine.
And so Wednesday night, did everything go okay for you?
It did. It was great. The e-scribing software that we used was a different group than I've used before, but it was a beautiful system and worked just, it was intuitive and easy to use. And in our training on Wednesday morning, they kept saying, now you've got to submit your scores really quickly for TV. And I'm like, TV? Ugh. But, yeah, the whole thing just was a piece of cake. It was very nice.
So then Friday is the freestyle.
Yeah.
So how is scribing for that different than scribing for the regular Grand Prix test?
Okay, so there's the pressure.
I knew we'd get it somewhere.
Of course, the freestyles have specific movements that each horse has to perform, but we don't know what order those movements are going to be performed in. And the test sheet has a list of all of the movements in a fairly understandable order, so you kind of know to look at the top of the sheet or the bottom of the sheet. But the scribe has to keep an eye on what's going on in the ring, but also keep a really close eye on the score sheet. And there's a running conversation between the judge and the scribe. Now there's a half pass right. Here's the score for it. Comment, possibly. That looks like shoulder in left. And at this level, at the World Cup, we're not going to have any trouble telling what the riders are trying to perform. Right. Sometimes at the lower levels, it's like, do you think that was a half pass? But, yeah, so the first couple of freestyles will be actually very stressful until we figure out the rhythm. But, again, I've done lots of freestyle scribing. I like it. I think it's fun. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it more than anything else.
Do you know what letter you'll be at for that show yet?
I do not. I don't. I'm pretty sure it won't be C, but other than that, I don't know where we are.
I'm sure it'll be a good view no matter where.
Oh, any box is a good view. Yeah. And, these horses are just so gorgeous. Yeah. You know, I try not to go total fangirl. You're not supposed to express your opinions as a scribe, but I'm like, ooh, that was beautiful. So,
Yeah, I know. Same thing for me. I'm trying to watch and take notes of what's going on, but then I kind of get distracted and start actually watching and not, so I bet it could be easy enough for you as the scribe to do that. Although stuff keeps happening. I'm sure the judge keeps telling you things so you don't get too distracted.
Yeah, no, I don't get distracted. I do have to be careful when the musical freestyles come that I don't get rocking out too hard and tapping my foot. So, my job is not to distract the judge.
Right. Well, very good. I appreciate you talking to us and giving us a little behind-the-scenes view, and good luck scribing tomorrow night.
Thank you very much. I look forward to it, and this was fun. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Dressage Today podcast. If you've missed any episodes or to subscribe, go to Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, please rate and review the show. Learn more and read in-depth training articles at dressagetoday.com, or you can visit our subscription video site, ondemand.dressagetoday.com. Be sure to give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Happy riding, and we'll see you at X.